For almost 3 decades, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida have disputed the use of two shared river basins, the Apalachicola Chattahoochee Flint AFC and the Alabama Cosa Tallapoosa ACT. The river systems are used to meet multiple needs, including drinking water, power generation, agriculture, aquaculture, navigation, and recreation. While rainfall in metro Atlanta is generally abundant, river flows are not always sufficient to meet the area's water supply needs. Therefore, we depend on our ability to store water in two reservoirs operated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to provide safe and clean water supplies for our residents and businesses, like Lanier in the ACF Basin and Allatoona Lake in the ACT Basin. What's a watershed?
A watershed is
that area of land, a bounded hydrologic system,
within which all living things are inextricably linked
by their common water course, and where, as humans settled, simple logic demanded that they become part of the community. John Wesley Powell. While I was extremely cold and dripping from wading through Dukes Creek, I ended up enjoying the trip to the watershed at the Smithville Woods State Park, and remember interesting facts about the minuscule macroinvertebrates that float through such streams. However, something that I didn't know before the trip was how certain types of bugs can gauge how clean the water is, an idea that seemed really cool. I like math, and since calculating the purity of water was something of a formula, I found it intriguing. So while walking back from the waterfalls at the top of the creek on our 10-minute silent reflection, I paid more attention to the sounds and beautiful views than focusing on the cold weather and taking footage like I had on the way up the trail. I distinctly remember observing the intricate natural formation of ice along the route and appreciating the low amount of objects that were man-made on the hike, while looking at the fallen trees that had landed at different parts all over the stream, and recognized how the small dams formed by these fallen trees increase the productivity of the stream ecosystem. Trees are always helpful when it comes to water.
Having met so many people up and down the ACF watershed and listening to presentations from our guest speakers, I've had the opportunity to hear many different opinions regarding the water wars and the river basin. After this trip, I wondered who could be causing such a dramatic lack of fresh water in Florida. Everyone we met seemed to be making progressive steps to conserve water. I wondered if maybe the shortage in Apalachicola wasn't as bad as people were making it out to be. However, when we actually went there and got the opportunity to meet some experts on the river and various business owners down there, we saw that that wasn't the case. Gibby at the Estuarine Reserve made it obvious that the city was suffering from a lack of freshwater flow, which affected not just the Apalachicola but also the bay, the estuary, and even the Gulf of Mexico. Also, business owners such as TJ Ward at 13 Mile and Scotty Abel at Water Street Seafood Company explained to us how their businesses suffer when consistent freshwater shortages cause a decline in the marine life population. After hearing all these different stories, I feel that it is unfair to blame citizens of Atlanta, Columbus, South Georgia, etc., as the people in Apalachicola aren't the only ones whose livelihoods depend on the river. However, I 100% think that Apalachicola also deserves a share of water. In my opinion, everyone, including the Army Corps of Engineers, needs to come together to find a compromise. While the compromise doesn't have to be loved by everyone, it at least shouldn't hurt anyone, the way the water wars are now. It definitely hits harder when people's entire lives revolve around this body of water, as it makes you want to do your best to protect it.